everybody, welcome to Robert's train set, number 9. I think we're getting really to the end of what I can do on this layout on the table. I could do some more speed matching on some of the other locos, the smaller ones, but not on the big ones. So I think it's time to start going up in the loft, weather permitting of course. And there are things I obviously need to do before I actually go up and start ripping the layout apart to a certain extent. But what's in this episode? Well, I've actually managed to get the point working, primarily because I lied to the computer. So I will show you that a little bit, and got the trains going on their little route at the moment. I've got a little bit of film of what I managed to achieve with the point working, albeit with my finger. But it does sort of show you the potential, I would say, for upstairs. So I hope you'll enjoy this. And this is where, in a way, the physical work starts instead of the mental. Although there is going to be a bit of mental in it as well, of course. So let's get on with the bits that I filmed for you.
So here's the point that I put in now, and you can see it's got a sensor, it's got all the bits, double arrows, and yes, it's working as you would expect it to work, albeit with a bit of help with my finger, of course. So I'll just show you how I set this up, and
so up here I brought up the turnout properties, and I basically lied. If you look at this, this all comes out normally, the turnout left and straight and whatever. DR5000 doesn't actually come up unless you bring it up. And if you notice down here, I've put an address in, number 1. So it could be point number 1 on a decoder, point decoder. And that's what I've done. And then down here you can see straight ahead or branch. And I've actually, if we do go to speed, I've actually signified that it can do 40 miles an hour that way, but if it's actually going into the siding, only 20, which all seems to work. I put in the length and the speed, as you saw, so I've got the length of it in. So down here, you can obviously see it says a manual turnout, a spring turnout, which is what I tried earlier, which worked to a certain amount but not much. It basically means the blades on the point are spring loaded and will always return to the straight ahead. So a locomotive going through from right to left would push them apart and go through, but coming the other way it wouldn't. So that seems to make a bit of a problem. And I didn't fill any of these in, and basically the computer believed me, is what really happened. So yeah, I'm quite pleased that I got this to work, and it makes me think maybe I can get away with not putting point motors on all my points upstairs that I haven't got, because I've got about 3 point motors that aren't electrified. We'll have to see, but it's heartened me a bit, I would say. So let's get on with the next bit.
So I got it to reverse and it does it automatically, but instead of saying route, you have to put shunt in and then it does it. Although sometimes it uses forward when it needs reverse. I think it depends what you set it at, but yeah, it worked really well. You know? And as you can see, it's slowing down to go over that point at its 20 miles an hour or whatever I did. I think it's even less than that, but yeah, it does sort of follow the commands quite good. So I just thought I'd do the last time to show you this on here. So as you can see, I'm setting them up and do exactly the same as we normally do, just move them to where we want them to go. And click on it. And then put that to there. And click on the route. And away they go and they do their stuff. And if you notice, the point should change. At the moment, it's the grey is all the way through, isn't it? Just with that little bit of light into the siding. Now, hopefully, there you are. Now that the ginty has gone past, it's highlighted. That's where my finger came in. And it's, oh, now it sets off a bit of... The only other thing I found is it seemed to switch before the ginty's drain had gone over it, so I don't know whether that will be recommended or even sorted out when you actually have it sorted with an electric motor, I don't know. And then the ginty was back where it was meant, sorry, the freight was where it was meant to be. And there we are. Seems to be taking a little while to get into the station there, doesn't it? And it stopped, so don't know quite what happened there. Can't remember. So I didn't film setting it up for going backwards. So here I just wanted to see how slow the ginty would go with one speed step, and as I'll say in a minute, I'm not overly impressed with that. As you've seen, we've had a load of some of our trains in RAILMASTER going really, really slow, haven't we? And this isn't that good, so I think I might work again on that.
Well, everybody, you've just seen the little ginty going as slow as I could get it to go manually. And I must say, I'm not overly happy with that slow speed running. That was as slow as I could get it to go on one speed step. Now, in Bob Fowler's video, he did say you don't want it too slow, but I think for me that is a bit slow. So I think at some stage I might be redoing this to try and get it to run slower. There we go. Now, by the side of me down here, you just see my little cube camera here, so I'm recording the trains coming round because they are actually running with that program that I had on my live stream, which you may have seen a couple of days ago. Well, it won't be a couple of days now, it'll be a few weeks. And I managed to get them running around 3 trains on this small layout, and so far they've not crashed, or shall I'll rephrase it, they've not crashed going this way. So going as it is for me here clockwise, although it may look different on the film, they've not crashed. But I did try and run some of these the other way round, so anti-clockwise, and I had all sorts of problems. So what's coming up is I've shown you the different ways of having automatic running, and the final one of those is where you don't need to set routes. You just put the trains on the layout with the computer and put them where they are. You push the button and the computer will decide where they're going to go and, you know, where they're going to stop and let whatever. Now obviously on this layout there's not an awful lot of scope, so I've tried that, and I've had more problems with that than I have with doing this program, and I'm not quite sure why, and I will show you a little bit of it happening, and you can see. And what they tend to do is they bind up, so it starts off and then one loco just won't move. It'll just stay sitting there, probably steaming at you, but not doing a lot, you know. And then it all just obviously comes grinding to a halt. So I'll show you that. So I alluded to it at the beginning. I really do think this is coming to the end. I certainly haven't learned everything there is to learn on a little layout like this. So I think what's going to happen is this is going to go. Various reasons. The first reason is that all these little single straights I need up in the loft when I do the big layout, because I want to replace all the feed rails, the Hornby feed rails, with these, because obviously it will have soldered joints with droppers. But I quite enjoyed doing the speed checking on this layout. It's a lot warmer down here and it's a lot easier and you can get around. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy a complete circle of second radius curves, and then I will reset this up, and if I can get a straight where I have at the moment, that would be good. But I think I'm also probably going to solder the feed wires onto the rails like I've got to do upstairs, because I am having issues with these clips. They pop up and then the logos hit them, and the reliability of the layout, this layout, highlights to me that I need to get it quite good upstairs if I can. So I'll let you see what I've done on the layout, and then I'll come back to you at the end and just show you where I am today, which is the 30th of December 2021. So we're almost into the 2022, and you know, I'm sure we're all hoping for a better year. But that's what we hoped last year, wasn't it? So we'll see how we go. So I'll be back just after this extra bit of filming that I've done for you. All right, cheers everybody, bye.
So on this you can see I've now got these two stations here. Got the long station at the top and the two station at the bottom. And obviously it's incorporating that siding that now works. So you then have to actually do a station bit, you know, within the station editor, as you can see here. And it shows that there are a couple of blocks in there, and you have to sort of signify, you know, whether you want it to weight, the length of it, whether the trains can pass through. Now obviously in the siding one they can't pass through because they go through the buffers, and you know, there's lots of bits that by setting them wrong you'll find that things won't work properly. So these are the station types, and it's only really for automatic running that these come into fruition. And you can see I've got it random on here, but you can do in order and all this sort of thing, which does make a difference. So what we've got now is all trains can wait or do whatever. You can signify trains that can't go in. So we are looking here at the long station, which is one at the top. So yeah, it's you do it in each one. So these are the feedbacks, and it's showing the lengths I've set them at, basically. And you can, as you've seen before, it all depends where it's all going to stop, isn't it? And you can see I've set a stop position there. And I've raised the speeds even a bit more, I think, on that one. So you've seen the trains that does the routes properly, but this is on automatic, and it's supposed to just choose to run the trains as it wants. You don't put any input, you just put the trains on the track and then push the arrow. But it doesn't seem to work very well because they run for a little while, very short, and then they just stop, or one of them stops. And I've noticed it's usually the jinting, which I don't quite understand. So I don't know, perhaps it decides that it's not worth just running them around this layout. You know, you can only run them around and round, can't it? So it may be that. Anyway, I'll show you a little bit of it. And as you can see, it's still stopping them when it needs to, and starting them. But yeah, I was a bit perplexed by this, I must admit. But I'm not going to worry too much about it because I think it might be better doing thing. And this is where it got stuck, as you saw. So I did it a shivvy up and then got them going again. But yeah, not ideal. Not the best experience, but I'm not going to, as I said, I'm not going to bother too much. I think I'll start upstairs really, I think. And, you know, I've done everything here, I think, to a certain extent I can do, to be honest. So I decided it was time to do a bit of work, practical work, and I did do a drawing of or the sizes of my units, you know, my DigiKeys units. And I went outside because it was so warm, look, 13.4, and I think this was at sort of 10 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So there's my calendar ready for the change of calendars in a couple of days. This was done on the 30th, I think, and I'm out in the conservatory with all my bits. I've got a shelf that I've not used for ages, so I thought it was worth doing it, you know. So there's some of my stuff hanging up ready to work, and I was actually out here in my shirt sleeves working, and I set me my wonky old bench up, but it was good enough for this. Just clamp them on firmly and start sawing. So as you can see, and it is a fairly new saw and cut through it quite nice and cleanly actually. I was surprised on the back side, it was right. There he is working in his shirt sleeves, look. I quite enjoyed it out here actually, it was right. So it didn't hurt that I just walked up the supermarket to get some bits, and I got quite hot. So I thought it was worth coming out here while I was a bit hot and working, and it did work really well. So look, you can see I've nearly done them. So pretty good. And I was quite pleased to get these done because obviously the weather's going to get back again, and that was the last bit. And there was a little bit to cut off the end of that, which I think you'll see in a minute. I think I did a close-up, there it is. So you can see the line, so I had to cut that bit off. But that's the only bit of waste really. And there they are, all ready. Now what I thought I'd do is just give them a bit of a sandpaper on the edges and take all the sharp edges off. And you might be thinking I've got too many there, and you'll be right. And here's my sanding block, which is pretty good, to be honest. It works very well. I've had it a long time. I think I might have even had this, you know, when I was an apprentice. So there they are. And as I said, I sanded them all off, and it did quite a good job on them, really. They look okay, you know. Yeah, you can see that. And I did more because I might need some more of the sensors. I'm not sure yet. And I thought I might as well have a few ready if I need them. So I thought that was worth doing, you know. And I took the arrows off because, you know, you'd probably be going up underneath. You'll have to see where I put them. Now this was the one for the DR5000, and it's obviously a bit taller. And when I go up in the loft, I'll show you my thoughts about this. And there we are, all ready to sort of clear up and go back indoors. So yeah, really pleased to get these done. And it had gone up to 13.8 by the time I'd finished. So that's pretty good. And needless to say, the tea was there. So as this is likely to be the last one down here. I thought I'd show you the trains running again with the program that I did, the all the way round program, which they seem to run very well with them. Quite pleased to get 3 trains running on this, and I'm going to show you a bit of this, a bit of time. Obviously if you're bored with it, and I know it can be quite boring, just fast forward a bit. But after this, I just did a little bit with my Cube camera, the Cube Plus camera on the front of the Ginty, and showed you what it's like on the track and how you get held up. And it takes quite a long time just to get around, you know. I was really surprised. So I hope you'll watch that if you want. Obviously not as nice as going around the layout upstairs, but you know, at least this is running. So as you'll see a little while later, I'm going to have another bit of talking and just tell you what's going to happen. So I hope you won't mind. There we go. I'll keep quiet for a little while and let you just listen to the trains. So here we are at track level, and you can just see the 08 with its goods train just pulling away to the right, and hopefully we should make a move off, hopefully. There is a certain amount of delay with everything clearing before we do that, and I'll just let you watch this again, and again, if you don't want to see all of it, just fast forward a bit. So as the 08 goes off again, and we hopefully will go into this straight, you'll see how long it takes, but obviously I've got this all set pretty slow, so when we're actually on the layout, hopefully I'll be able to run a bit quicker, and you know, it won't take quite so long, so we'll have to see how we go. But I really enjoyed this little bit, and there we go now.
Well, things have changed. One thing, it's all very quiet, isn't it? So I'll just show you a little bit of film that I'm going to film right now, and then I'll come back to you and tell you what's going to happen next, I suppose. Okay, everybody? So as you can see, there's no train. The bits are there, but there's no train. It's come to the end. So I'll just show you a few of the bits that I've sorted out, a bit close up, handheld, and then you'll be back with my muck again, I'm afraid. So to be honest, this view you have now is really the heart of the system. Without all this hardware, none of the clever stuff in the computer with iTrains would work. And you've even got to think about when you take this apart. So if I go down to this one, I've written the numbers. So although we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's not true. It's actually 17 to 24 because we started at 17. The reason we started at 17 was everybody seemed to think that if you try and do it from 1, 2, 3, 4, the DR5000 doesn't actually like it very much. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but take advice if you get it. So going across, we then go from 32, 33 to 40 and so forth, and then across over to the 64, which is the last number I have at the moment. So the reason for doing this is when I get them up in the loft, I must put them in the right order because they've been programmed. So if I was to mix up the others, I think it would cause problems. It might not, but it's quite possible that it would. So I've got all my cables here, trying to keep it all together. So all my track, got all my new single straights and my double straights, and even the buffer stop. So I go around the other side of the table. So what have I got to do next? Well, I think one thing I can do down here is, if you remember this had all the point numbers on that I painstakingly went through and sorted out which they are. So these could actually be entered into iTrains. And if I do all of them, if I plug the point decoders, the Hornby point decoders into the DR5000, these should work even through iTrains if I put them all into iTrains. So that's that job. And then the other job, I think, is I'm only going to do the inner sort of couple of circles of this to start with. So I think I'm going to blow this bit up as big as an A4, and then I'll sort out what I'm going to put, I'm going to where I'm going to put my blocks and maybe how many sensors in each, and then I'll have a good idea of how many we need. So I'm sure that most of you realise now that there are not going to be many trains running on Robert's train set. Nothing on the table to run them on, and obviously I couldn't keep it because I need those units, those DR5000s up in the loft. Now it will only be for fitting them under the unit, and then I think I'll probably take them off and bring them down here because it'll be safer. And that might be a point where I can, if I've already got the second radius curves, which I've yet to order yet, and I've got to find them, haven't I? I did notice, I went on Hatton's the other day for some Hornby stuff, and they don't seem to have a lot of Hornby stuff. And Wales and Sheffield obviously are the same. So I do wonder whether Hornby are shooting themselves in the foot. They may well be, because I am a bit averse to paying their inflated prices. I must admit. I mean, if I have to, I have to, but I'd rather. And also, obviously, they're really long-winded delivery times. You know, you order it one day in Hatton's or Wales or Sheffield, and it's possibly, if you do it at the right time, you can have it the next day. As we've seen with the hush-hushes, they can take an awfully long time to come, can't they? So anyway, here we are. So, yeah, that's it for the time being. As I'm sure if you've seen Perth South, who's doing a superb job up there in Scotland, this sort of stuff takes an awfully long time. And I noticed with him, he might leave 3 or 4 months between a video, or he did at the early stages. Seems to be getting a bit more regularly now, but he was very good, and I'm really impressed with what he's doing up there. It's really a magnificent layout when it's landscapes and everything, but really good. So when I go up in the loft and start doing this, basically I'm going to take I think I'm probably going to take a lot of this railway up, do what I need to do to it, and then put it back together again. So obviously I won't be able to run any trains. And I don't know if you've seen Kelly's little video on apologising for not watching me with her nice Earlers and Germans running. It doesn't matter when you watch it, as long as you watch it, is what I say. She did comment about keep the eLINK and the Hornby stuff, which I obviously still have, and you can always go back to it. Well, it's not strictly true, is it? Because once I start chopping this all up into sections or blocks, it won't really work the same. The only way then would be to connect all the wires together and then feed them into the eLINK. So whether I would ever do that, I don't know. You never know, do you? So please be patient with me. I'm not going to be able to get a video every week, or if I did, there'd be nothing in it. You know, basically upstairs it's take the track up, solder some wires on the track, drill a lot of holes, lot of wiring. That's what it entails really. But I will obviously do 1 or 2 little videos to show you how I'm getting on. So please don't think I've disappeared if, you know, I go weeks and weeks without anything. This is what it's going to have to be like, I'm afraid. Now, whether I can do that, I don't know. I really do like uploading once a week. As you've seen, I've tried in the past to not do it so often, but I fail miserably. But I think this time I won't really have much choice. So I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you all hope you've all had a nice, happy new year. As you know, this is going on a bit, isn't it? This is now getting on near the end of January. Now, this was filmed, as I said earlier, on the 30th of December. And the reason I cut those bits up outside was it was so warm. As you saw, I was in my shirt sleeves. I'd walked over to the supermarket in my shirt sleeves and still got hot coming back. So it worked really well. And yes, I'm going on a bit, but you know, this is the last time you can see my mug probably for a little while. Don't applause all at the same time, please. So just to finish off, I've really enjoyed doing this on the table. And as I say, Mark II tabletop layout will come eventually because it's going to be easier to speed match all these locos down here than up there, I think. And I've got control down here, haven't I? And it's warmer. So I'd like to thank all my old subscribers, all my recent subscribers, and even some new ones if they ever come on, for taking an interest in my channel. You know, we all appreciate, I have enjoyed doing it. And I do enjoy the video part of it and the editing as much as I do the trains. But it's lovely to see the trains running. And as you know, I always try and get a train running. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that because I won't have any way of doing it. Well, I suppose I could connect the battery to a bit of a track and try it that way. And that's really about it, I'm afraid. So I hope 2021 is going to be a lot nicer than the last couple of years, and that you know, we can see our way forward to having maybe not a normal life, but a more normal life, shall we say. That's as far as we can go. So cheers everybody. This is Robert's Train Set signing off for a little while. I don't quite know how long. Depends how I get on, but we'll see how we go. All right. Bye everybody. Bye.